Season's greetings. Welcome to Two Balls and a Mic.
Two balls
Two
and a
balls
mic.
and a mic. 193 episodes in a row every single week here on a Monday. Check out San Diego Football for everything San Diego football related. We're going to go ahead and start with Snapdragon priority. That was a big topic of conversation here in the city of San Diego in the soccerverse. There was some opinions, and we're going to go ahead and get into it, make some clarifications with our friend, not with our friend, but the bud, Hercules Gomez, had some thoughts as well. We're going to clear everything up and update everything on that end. Other than that, in the actual soccerverse, San Diego is going to be the home for playoffs for the NWSL and the USL Championship. Both teams, San Diego Loyal, San Diego Wave, clinched home playoffs. Albion did too. Almost.
Did they really?
They're in playoffs. They're almost there to get a home playoff game as well. But we're going to go ahead and get into everything that happened against the Courage. Great save by Pogarsh on the line. And an amazing, stellar, one of a kind. I think everybody that's listening at this point was there and knows what I'm talking about. At Torero Stadium. Best atmosphere in a while for San Diego Loyals.
And we're going to get to talk about San Diego Loyal once Alan Underwood joins us a little later. We want to start out with
Pissing. Well, all right. I don't.
Some news that happened. It's a story that we've been following along since back in March.
Yeah, it's a storyline that kind of has its lineage back over when
MLS was announced.
When it was announced, when it was rumored. Obviously, you heard about MLS coming to San Diego here first on San Diego Football. This episode with Mr. Señoris at Young the Ryan. Shout outs. But that was part of the story of what we had going on. And, obviously that was something that was an unspoken truth, saying the quiet things out loud, which is kind of the theme of what ended up happening this last week. Yeah, and we've been going back, I think even to April, May, I don't know, very early on where we asked Casey Stoney about her thoughts about the potential about there being an MLS team here in San Diego. I know that also great article by the boy Abraham Cepeda, who also does local coverage and does great work as well. So he also wrote an article for that. But we asked Casey, hey, what are your thoughts on MLS coming in and probably being roommates with San Diego Wave at Snapdragon? Casey answered to the effect, and this is the part where I remember, I just don't want to play second fiddle to anybody. Obviously, Casey Stoney has her views, her experiences coming in over through England, through the English system, and how much that league has grown, and kind of having her experiences dictate and see how and mold her overall view of the debate of men's game versus women's game. Yeah. There is much more, not necessarily men versus women. There is kind of synergetic existences now throughout. Excuse me, but yeah. And then we had that answer from Casey Stoney
from a while back.
And then we had the chance to sit with Tom Penn.
Exactly. So we sat down with Tom Penn, and I mean that interview's been released out for 2 weeks already.
Yeah.
So in that interview, we asked him, hey, we talked to Casey Stoney. We've asked her about scheduling and that relationship to have with MLS, and she said she doesn't want to play second fiddle when it comes to scheduling. And Tom Penn gave a very honest answer to that.
A transparent answer, and what I will, give credit to, and that's the fact is what the fact is. Talking about saying the loud thing, the quiet thing out loud is this has been something that if people have been paying attention, if you've been kind of following the development of just Snapdragon altogether, everybody saw it coming. I've also known that San Diego Wave themselves, in contract negotiations, I don't know if this sounds bad, whatever. Each team has the option to, negotiate with a venue, with a university, the terms of lease essentially for that venue and Snapdragon. And there was a section where this was a possibility that once an MLS team comes in, this is gonna most likely then cede priority to that MLS team. And again, so that's been there. That's been known. So the pushback of, well, this is all of a sudden isn't necessarily all true.
It's more like there was a little spotlight to it.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you haven't heard, Tom Penn said, well, pretty much that they're paying, like, I guess, more rent, you could say, right, to SDSU, and SDSU gets the priority. Their football team gets priority, and that's kind of already known. And now I got to sit in a Wave presser this past week on Thursday for Wave, and I asked Casey Stoney. First, I asked the soccer question, if your team is speaking at the right time, and blah, blah, blah. And nobody cared about that, I guess. Everyone loves the drama.
Yeah.
So I just followed up with, hey, we sat down with Tom Penn and asked him, told him your concerns about playing second fiddle.
And we can actually play that.
Yeah, we can play it. He expressed that. So they're going to get priority. And her answer, which I'm a little upset because it wasn't recorded, but that's fine.
Yeah, it was like
so many people hit us up for it
for the recording of it.
Yeah,
it's
so
like it's up to the team.
And it's funny because people hit us up after. It's like, hey, like, and what was sent, that answer's not there. Like, what happened? And they recorded late. It happens. But this is essentially what Tom Penn said.
This conference that she doesn't want to play second fiddle, right? She wants to know what the schedules are going to be, how her team's going to benefit from all this too. What does the ideal collaboration look like between MLS San Diego and San Diego Wave?
Yeah, so San Diego State is the landlord, and they're also the first tenant, if you will. Their football team gets the first priority for their 6 or 7 dates per year when their football team plays. So anytime you have a multi-use facility, each tenant has a lease that sort of sets out what the priorities are. And the next priority tenant to pick dates is us. So we negotiated for and we received from the university in exchange for what we're leasing the building for, the right to be, after San Diego State, the next priority in dates.
So essentially, again, like, that's what this has all been, is the crux of it right there. And
so Casey Stoney her response was, she's not happy, obviously. I'm just trying to, if we go word by word, all I can say is that it frustrates me again that we're the established team in the market and a men's team comes in and gets first picks on the schedule. Shame that it continues to happen. She went on to say that she's been in the game for so many years and she's already used to that. She's used to, she played it where the men's team comes in and just pushes them to the side, which is valid, which is very valid to feel that way. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part, right? When is the men's game going to be equal to the women's game? And that's going to be an ongoing debate for who knows how many years. But the perception is that she's not happy, and rightfully so, right? Her team is probably one of the best ones in the league right now.
Attendance-wise, San Diego Wave leads the NWSL with an average of 20,000.
They don't hold the record for highest attendance anymore.
Yeah,
but
that'll change. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But that's 20,000 average is still leading the NWSL, and looking at what's in the back door, right? Like San Diego Loyal. Like San Diego Loyal has a capacity of about 6,000 plus at Torero Stadium. What San Diego Wave has been able to do, and really, like, much like San Diego Loyal, ushering a pathway for this for SDFC, who will be having their brand reveal coming up in 11 days on October 20th. I know those tickets have unceremoniously gone out.
They got an overwhelming amount of tickets.
Overwhelming
amount.
So stay tuned to see if you can finagle yourself in there. But again, this is kind of the place that we're at, right? So
when I asked this, I was texting you and I told you, hey,
we were at work.
We were at work running 10-hour shifts,
children,
programming,
kindergartners
But-
telling people. You know,
Check the stream audio, boys. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep talking, right?
Yeah.
I texted you, hey, I asked this, and her answer was good. Let's tweet about it. And then somebody else beat us to it, tweeting it. Not that we get upset over being the first to tweet about something or anything like that. It's been an ongoing thing in the media where you kind of give credit to whoever asked the questions, and that's kind of what we were bothered a little bit about. Audio's off.
Yeah. Keep talking.
But yeah, so we were kind of upset about that, right? And then it kind of turned into more than just being upset about that. It really turned into knowing what the answer was and the impact that that answer was going to do. Because that tweet, not that the tweet blew up, but that quote essentially blew up. Like the ESPN, other podcasts and other shows on ESPN and whatnot, and we're gonna get to talk about that too. But let us know, guys, in the chat if everything is better.
Yeah, should be good now.
Should I start over?
No, I mean, okay. So you were talking. Let's just kind of wrap. Like,
Yeah.
we're
working. We're going back and forth.
and not that we were upset that somebody else kind of beat us to the punch of doing this, but we asked the question of, hey, we've been following this story. We can't retweet, we can't record because you were on the go.
Yeah.
And I took the privilege of seeing somebody else take the quote and the question, and I said, take the credit for it. That's the thing. It's not even taking the credit,
No,
but
I didn't.
it's interesting because I quote tweeted Taylor's tweet with saying like, "What a great question by @Chiva97, El Chiva97 from two balls and a mic," and I just left it, and I'm like, all right, like it's fine, like this is gonna be a regular Thursday. All right, kid, let's go.
Man.
And the phone started blowing up, and so when that happened, I not necessarily got cold. I'm like, oh no, it's oh boy, what did I do?
Because for the most part, it's been stuff that you put out there that gets reactions.
Yeah,
and not in a negative way at all.
Not that I needed
just,
that reaction essentially, but
you thought it was like, oh
find it.
man, it's because I quote tweet this. Huh? Is that what you were thinking or no?
yeah, let me throw this up here. Yeah, so Taylor Vincent does great coverage here, and again, thank you for everybody who said kind words.
Check her out. She does great work for the NWSL. Definitely check her out. She drops everything that you need to know about NWSL, along with many other people
who do great work.
World, yeah.
And so when I checked, and I'm like, okay,
it's not this.
It's not where I thought I was gonna go here. Everything just kind of started stemming this other like, what? Like it wasn't even like, it was just like, oh, it's not that. Okay, wait, what
What is going on?
What? Okay. In between there was just everything. There was a bunch of everything just happening at the same time.
I think it was two different things that happened, right? Where
well,
the first,
one I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, one we're not gonna really talk about because it's not worth mentioning. If you know, you know, and we're gonna move on from that. The second one was people were really upset about Wave getting second picks.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, right? And it turned into a whole, wait, why are they getting second picks? And it just went to a whole nother level of like views and whatnot and like attention that normally stuff gets when it comes to San Diego soccer.
Yeah, no, we've been reporting everything the San Diego SDFC, San Diego Football Club, whatever they're going to be called, has been releasing, and we covered the Siquan band of the Kumeyaay Nation giving their land and being part of this next chapter and building their academy on the tribal land. People are upset because it's on a favorite golf course of theirs, but it really went a direction that we didn't expect because it's par for the course. Like it makes sense in ways that aren't necessarily nefarious in intent from MLS, because people can claim, oh, of course they come in, of course this happens. Yeah, but what are the reasons? And talking about the coverage that this did end up getting, Herculez Gomez on his show, Fútbol Américas.
First, he slid in the DMs.
Yeah, and he called,
which was cool.
Called you out, said like, that Chiva guy. Yeah, what's up, dude?
Yeah, he's aight. He's aight. He said.
He's like, wow, I can finally understand him because he's been a long-time listener. Herculez Gomez. But no, so they had this debate over on his show, Fútbol Américas. Let's take a listen.
International. All right, Herc, what do you make of this move from San Diego FC?
So that's in response to a podcast that Sean Penn, is it? I'm sorry.
Tom Penn.
Tom Penn. Not that Sean.
Yes, cool. that would be noteworthy.
Waiting to get Sean Penn.
Ex-LAFC, excuse me. President Tom Penn did with Two Balls and a Mic, their podcast, those guys out there in San Diego who do a good job. I don't know what to make of it, because in that podcast, Penn is talking about how they're one of two tenants, the other being the Wave, but they have priority on the scheduling. Why do they have priority? Is it contractual? Are they giving more money?
It's laid out crystal clear why.
Yeah.
Tom, again, the transparency was there. In that interview, we find out exactly why.
Why is it that San Diego FC and the men have priority over these women who were already there, who've kind of laid the groundwork, who did the grunt work, if you will, to prove that the concept exists. There are fans in San Diego, those soccer fans in San Diego, the ones who are filling up Snapdragon already.
San Diego Wave also got some help from San Diego Loyal, so let's not forget that, Herc.
Why should they be second?
Why should they be second fiddle
on the scheduling? Why do they have priority over these women who are already there?
I did.
Who've kind of
I did.
laid the groundwork, who did the grunt work, if you will, to prove that the concept exists. There are fans in San Diego, those soccer fans in San Diego, the ones who are filling up Snapdragon already. Why should they be second rate? So I don't know. And that's the thing. It's just a bad look because we don't have the information. It just looks like big bank take little bank here.
Yeah. So the first priority tenant in all of this is San Diego State University, right? They own the facility, and their football team, that's who gets first dibs.
And they're not doing so well. They can barely fill out a section, the San Diego State football team. So, yeah, they get first choice, but literally they're the bottom of the rung. Like, literally, attendance-wise, bottom of the rung.
So I'm going to put some of the blame here on San Diego FC for sure. I'm also going to put some of the blame on San Diego State.
And this is
that's an interesting take that nobody really was.
We've been talking about. I don't know. Yes.
But it's an interesting take, right? Like, how much can you blame SDSU for this?
Well, okay, I'll give them all the blame, because when Mr. Gomez here starts talking about why do these men get priority over the women? Okay, who are they negotiating with? The university, San Diego State. So the question should be, and this is the next part of our investigation, because again, we've been following this thread. Was there an option that San Diego Wave was given to their billionaire owner of saying, hey, match this. Hey, can you do this? Hey,
they're paying this much. Can you top that?
Deja tocar el mic. But did that happen? If it didn't, then, now we're talking about something else of like, well, why didn't the university give him that? And going back to the contract that Wave had with the university, was that verbiage to protect them from a situation like this in there? If not, then it's big bank take little bank, but big bank had a giant gap of opportunity to take because the university allowed this. And in negotiations, there wasn't any protections for San Diego Wave on that front. So again, there's still more to come out of this, but I just want to kind of clear that up. We're like, if anything, and it turns out that they didn't give an option, then that's again on the university. And my thing is going to be very interesting in 4 years' time. These teams are here to stay.
Yeah.
Okay. NWSL is expanding. The NWSL championship is
They're
coming
in
here.
leagues that are only growing in the right direction.
Exactly. So San Diego Wave has proven, again, that they have the attendance. And I think that they can maintain that even after Alex Morgan is out, because there are stars and people want to come and play in San Diego, and it's an attractive place to come and play. In 4 years' time, that's going to be 27. San Diego FC might have a couple of seasons under their belt. Their academy system with Right to Dream might be kind of, we don't know. We don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to talk with the Right to Dream people coming up just to get a sense of what can be expected on the field. But other than that, what is stopping SDFC? What will stop SDFC from coming back to the table, say in 4 years' time, when, the first season, half a season of SD MLS will be sold out at Snapdragon. It will sell out 100%. But whenever that attendance starts going down, right, those midweek games, you're going to have Open Cup games. You're going to have
not only that, if the team is not playing good,
unattractive games, the team's not playing good, again, because it'd be a reflection of this a Right to Dream Academy and the play style, because it's younglings, right? It can work. It's worked for the Danish league and across Egypt and Ghana. It's been successful. However, does that come back up where, Wave is still maintaining 20,000 average, and that's essentially the lower bowl of Snapdragon, and then MLS 2 is like, okay, 20, 25,000, and that's just the average at that point. Do negotiations reopen? Because the prospect of MLS bringing more people and more eyes to Snapdragon is because of the reach, is because of the range, is because of the growth of the league. But again, I don't know. I'm not a future truth teller.
Does that also change if Wave win a championship this season? Which
it's not.
But
it's not going to change. Should it change? Well, no, because you still don't know what you're going to get with MLS. You still don't know what's going to happen with MLS. And again, the first year of MLS, this first 6 months, that stadium is going to be packed.
And I think a lot of this has to do with people need to understand that, it should have favored Wave for the respect of them being there first and the numbers that they've been creating. But at the end of the day, the business is going to tell you otherwise. The money is going to tell you otherwise. And that's what this is all is. That's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, so then continue kind of with Mr. Gomez.
You already had a tenant that you've been working with in the San Diego Wave. Why did you give their spot up to the men's team? I think that's an important question here to ask, too. Bigger question here, Herc. Is San Diego FC going to have any friends left in town when this is all said and done? They're alienating now NWSL fans. Forget about USL fans who just saw the Loyal disappear. And then when the Loyal tweeted about their disappearance, guess who was there to kind of pick up the pieces? That's right, San Diego FC on Twitter. On top of that, Tom Penn, who you mentioned, he came down from LAFC. It makes it feel like another McDonald's franchise open. I'm just trying to wonder, what's the point of rooting for this San Diego FC team? What about them is enticing to us at this point?
I mean, who's the connection? Machado? Who are you connected to from the ownership? Who are you connected to? I mean, they've got to completely knock it out the park with the coaching and the roster, because there's no connection to that city thus far.
All right, I'm going to stop Mr. Gomez here. Again, thank you for reaching out, giving us that fantastic shout out, but this is kind of where we'll have to fill in the gaps, okay? Because what's the connection? Machado? Okay, cool. An athlete, a transitional athlete, not necessarily transitional, but in the scope of San Diego, his existence up until he leaves or retires is super minimal compared to the lifespan that this team is going to have. 1. 2, the connection is, and again, we're critical when we need to be critical, but when you got to give props, it's props. The Sequan band of the Kumeyaay Nation is a central, if not the biggest local anchor that San Diego FC have. And to say that there's no connection is absolutely looking past the fact that Sequan a Native American nation is involved and has a seat at the table. Like that's, what's going to be rolling out. Obviously, Mansour is the primal investor in this, but to have that connection, literally the people that were here before any of us, is kind of dismissive. But again, if they don't know the full scope of this, then here we go. Let's fill in these gaps. Arguably, there's still time. There's still time for this ship to be righted. I can't say that they're dead in the water. There's been people who have been coming on. 197 people need to be hired for this MLS team to function. That's what Tom Penn let us know. And that's happening right now. They're getting people in place. And the rollout is going to be interesting. There's 11 days before we find out what this team is even going to be called, San Diego Football Club. And what the colors and crests are going to be. Like, it's going to be something that people can really, sink their teeth in and say, okay, cool. They do get it. Like,
we have a crest, we have a uniform, we have a name. Okay.
Yeah, and it's easier, it's easier to defend. It's easier to defend something that,
because now it really feels that there is something here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now it still feels like there's not much here.
And in terms of SDFC, so there's a lot of kind of blurry, information going out, and I don't blame them, because again, look, the fact that 2 balls and a mic, San Diego Puto Football, is at the forefront of the information for San Diego soccer and now being placed on national stage is humbling. One, but it's a look into, like, well, why aren't these other people covering it? And I know fantastic individuals that are doing great stuff locally, and but it's just a reflection of just kind of that infrastructure that isn't really there, and the style of coverage of the sport that makes people uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing necessarily that gets talked about in this way and in an open, free format, to where it's completely independent, but at the same time, we want to make sure that whatever we talk about is factual. And that's what we've been doing for 193 episodes in a row, every Monday, 8 p.m. We bring the main dish of the facts. Here's what it is. And at no point did we really do anything else. Anything after that, the seasoning of that main dish is our opinions. And again, for the most part, our opinions are pretty above water. Like, it's pretty kosher.
And our opinions are usually more based on how the teams are playing.
Yeah.
I mean, at least mine.
And this is what happens when there's nothing.
There's not much. Yeah, there's no
about.
Games going on for this until 2025, and that's what it is. We're going to get more stuff to talk about after October 20th, if nothing else happens this week or within the next week before October 20th. But I think this topic is a perfect segue and transitioning into San Diego Wave in the NWSL. Just because they have a match, Tony, this Saturday as well, pretty much same time as San Diego Loyal were playing their last regular season home game. They played away against North Carolina. This was a first place versus third place match. Casey Stoney, in that press conference that I was in, she answered my first question and said, yeah, we're peaking at the right time, but at the end of the day, we want to win the Shield. Winning the Shield means you end in first place. You were the most consistent team during the season, and that's her goal right now. She wants to win first place. Cool. What does that mean they need to do? They need to win their last 2 games. They tied against North Carolina 0-0 in a very back-and-forth game. It was a solid lineup from San Diego Wave. Nothing really changed from what we had in their win against Portland. You have Van Ekman, you have Jana Shaw, you have Caitlin Sheridan, Dalkemper and Girma in the center back positions. You have Alex Morgan, Kyle Caruso back in the starting striker position again. And for game changers, you have like Jakobson, Doniak, Taylor Cornier can come in. Kylie Real was able to come in as a game changer, which is huge for them. They pretty much have all their players back, which is huge for this last few games that they need to play. They have one more game in the season, so they tie in this game, right, Tony? And looking back at it, there were some good saves. There were some good shots. Do I think Wave should have won this game? Maybe not. They didn't play their best, and it happens from time to time. You had one shot on target the whole game, and I don't know if that's them being like comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, because you obviously now have home playoffs clinched, and could have really rolled out a different team, get some people some rest. But I think Casey Stoney is trying to get as many reps, and here a fantastic
Saved by Poe.
goal lines,
Yeah.
saved by Poe right there. Like that's worth a goal and home playoff clinching on its own. But that sold out stadium here for that NWSL playoff match here with San Diego Wave that will be sold out. Pretty much.
It will be.
Just watch that be
refereeing
sold
in
out.
this game wasn't the best, and Casey Stoney's not one to be shy away of mentioning it. Our good friend Abraham Cepeda did ask, was it frustrating about their yellow cards? And she just asked them straight up, "What did you see any yellow cards given to them?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, no." and it's scary when Casey puts you on the spot like that, and it's happened to different reporters as well.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, this means that this tie gave a second place solidified, which means they get a home semifinal. So they get the bye week from the quarterfinals straight to the semifinals, and they play that semifinal at home. That championship game will also be played at home, whether it's Wave or not. But now they have a chance to just literally stay home in their last 3 games if they win it all, if they play it all.
Yeah, that's poster board material. Hey, you want to play a championship at home? Then go ahead and just win one of these games. So congratulations to San Diego Wave again for clinching home playoff. The thing about this home playoff, though, that's kind of interesting, and again, just kind of going back to the topic of like, why is it this way? Like, this seems a little bit backwards. Like, why is there 3 weeks? Because there's an international break.
Yeah.
Right dead smack in the middle of all this. And so it's already a topic of discussion in any sport, in sports in general, when it comes to playoffs, where is getting the bye beneficial? Like, do you want to have that break? Do you want to have those rested players? Because at the other side of it, it's like, well, you're playing a certain way. You need people to get the reps. Abby Dahlkemper's coming back. If you really want her to be in her optimal state, you know, she has to be ready. She has to get those reps.
You can also risk an injury.
You could also risk an injury.
international players.
And then boom, like that ends up kind of changing everything. And so that is not the best look for just the sport to have such an eyesore of a international break right then
but
and there.
it's not even just the league; it's FIFA in general. There's international breaks are scheduled in all the leagues, so it's not just that. It's just if the league wants to avoid this, they might want to look at how their scheduling works, where they don't have their playoffs so late in the year, and it doesn't really land on an international break. It's a matter. I mean, I'm sure making a schedule for a professional soccer league is what has got to be one of the toughest jobs in the world. But if there's a chance to be able to like change it, that would be great. So this is where we stand for next week, right? In order for San Diego Wave to win the Shield, they need to win against Racing Louisville, who are still fighting for a playoff spot, who they are going to play to win this game. And they need Portland to lose against Angel City. Now, Portland already secured a home semifinal as well. They also want to win the Shield. They go back-to-back Shields. That's impressive as well. Angel City, though, is also 1 point away from a playoff game. So they're going to be giving everything they got. We've seen so many like historical last-minute goals in this type of game before in the NWSL. So it's going to be very exciting to see. Right now, the only one that's out, technically speaking, is Chicago Red Stars.
Yeah.
Unless Casey Curran wins by like 10 goals, they're pretty much out as well. Actually, no, Chicago's Casey Curran's actually out as well. It's Houston Dash that's still alive in 10th place. So
Right there was Racing
10 out of 12 teams are still alive or still in, have a chance. Is it unlikely that they make it? Probably not. But for San Diego to win the Shield, Portland either has to tie or lose, and Wave has to win. And they win the Shield, they win first place, they get the home playoff game semifinal, and then they would be able to wear their home uniform in the final.
Yeah, and there's a lot obviously that still needs to happen correctly, and the fact that San Diego Wave hasn't necessarily been the most consistent in their winning ways, or just in any ways, really, it's just that's why you asked that question in the press conference before the stadium thing. It's like, are you peaking at the right time? And are they peaking right now? I've seen them play a couple weeks ago the best game that they've probably played,
But then after
in a while, but
weekend,
then and kind of have that dip in form there. Are they kind of going down and playing down to the
I
competition?
mean, they
Are
win
people
9
playing up to the
games without
competition?
winning at one point this season.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about finishing first place. You already
Potential
secured
shield.
you already secured a semifinal at home. Now that semifinal is going to be played either November 5th or November 5th for sure, either at 4 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. So that's set in stone. They're going to play November 5th at home, whether they finish first or second place. Now, again, that break, it's 3 weeks from now. 4 weeks? So that's a lot of downtime. That's a lot of, like, getting your stuff together. That's a lot of not game time. And we know what that can cost.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening. The 15th here, be one of the first 10,000 people, and you get yourself a cool San Diego Wave basketball jersey.
Yeah, so their next game, Sunday, October 15th, 2 p.m.
That's literally what I said. Yes, 2 p.m.
I'm just, for people, if they don't understand you.
Oh, they don't understand.
Yeah, they don't
me?
understand you. Your
Me?
English is weird.
Me?
Your English is weird, dude.
The clearest spoken English on the podcast, including Alan Underwood when he makes an appearance.
Sí, pero tu español vale madre.
Mi español está mejor que el tuyo.
Oh, sí, güey. A ver, termina. ¿Hablamos con Alan en español? ¿Cuándo entra?
Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Coque Vegas.
You going to that game?
Yeah, I'm going. Of course.
Ooh,
Cover
crudito.
soccer locally.
Crudito?
Yeah, I'm planning a
big
bachelor
weekend.
party.
Yeah.
Well, not planning. It's been planned, and
We have personal lives too, guys.
that's gonna be.
Tony's
that's
very
gonna be
excited for
interesting.
this.
I am not.
He has been planning
hate
a bachelor party for his
every
best friend for the
second.
past 7 months.
Probably. Yeah, it sucks.
He's excited.
I'm not.
He's so invested in
It's
this.
so dumb.
He already has his suit picked out. Did
Oh,
you?
no shit. Yeah, you have to get
Yeah,
it
like-
tailored. Yeah, no. Like,
Ooh, Taylor. Damn.
so-
Oh. Weddings are fun. Weddings are fun.
I'm sweet like Swishers.
You're gonna
and
have fun.
swift,
You're gonna have a good
and I'm-
time.
and I'm swift like Taylor.
Is it a good group of friends?
God damn it! You're stepping over everything. Yes.
You're excited?
No.
Why?
I'm not an excitable person. I don't like I'm dead inside. Like it takes a lot now to just get me excited for anything exciting. Like I kind of had to cut that nerve in my mind just because, again, like even talking about this whole ESPN thing, like 3 years ago, it's like we would have immediately tweeted like, oh my God, Hercules Gomez has reached out and talked to ESPN, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, okay. Because things are coming at us so fast right now that there's no time and no need to process things emotionally, because that's how you get caught off guard.
Oh,
And
man.
then really emotions get the best of people sometimes. And
Yeah.
I mean, I want to thank everybody who came out to bat for us, and
was
it was
nice.
really, really, really nice of everybody, and something that I hope is because we've been doing a good job and trying our best to cover local soccerly. Jesus Christ.
Jeff said, wait, you guys aren't best friends? Breaking news. No, we're not best friends. He's like a big brother.
This just in, I really don't like Chiva.
And I don't like Tony very much either.
What's up?
What's up?
What did you say?
Now you're going to mute me.
Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. keep
Yeah,
it.
but Alan Underwood, I don't like you very much. Oh, that was good timing. That was
Leave
good
it down here?
timing.
Okay,
That was
leave
good
it down
timing. Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, leave it down here.
Yeah, you thought I was going to like back it up.
Um,
Alan, I told Alan to join at 8:43, guys, so he's about to join. He's going to be
It was a very
on
specific
time.
But yeah, so what a week. You know, it's interesting that
I
our
want-
journalism got us
yeah.
into
Ooh. So you know how you claimed the journalist title a while back.
Yeah.
He announced it.
I claimed it. I am the only journalist. Yes.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend from ESPN.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah, I've never really thought myself as a journalist, which is why I don't have him. He said, why? You should. You are one.
Oh.
The fact that he said that, I'm like, oh, am I a journalist?
I mean, you're pissing people off like one. And that's the thing, too. Like, again, like,
Hey, our
you
buddies-
asked the question.
and you got all the shit for
And
it.
I got all the fucking phone calls. And the
And I
messages
love that.
and the WhatsApps. And
People have my
and-
don't they can call me. You can send them my way if you wanted to.
I will not because
Exactly.
I don't know what you're going to say.
Thanks. Well, that's take it at your own risk. I don't want to hear no complaints here.
Well, then stop fucking.
Oh, what? Stop asking the real questions?
Yeah, you know what? Stop. This is. We need to make sure that we have friends, that we're all pals, that we all get along, and
Yeah,
make sure
true.
that we're all mutually beneficial for each other, and
True.
in a very very positive way. We all kind of really coexist in this manner. By the way, there's a little surprise at the end as we were about to go ahead and add El Señorísimo Alan Underwood. We do have an interview with Morgan Hackworth lined up here at the end of this episode. So stick around, Morgan Hackworth. Team 1 talks. We'll continue that
It's
series.
actually surprisingly a good one. They're all good
Surprisingly?
ones.
Did you just say surprisingly?
Yeah, I didn't know
What is
I
wrong
didn't know
with you?
how it would go with Morgan, but it was really good.
What is wrong with this man?
Hi, Alan.
What is wrong with you? Surprise you. Spoiler alert! Just like we said, best time ever. And Charlie, thank you again for his time, for that interview. Those were his best 3 words to summarize everything San Diego loyal. To kind of spoil something, Alan. I know you haven't seen it either. Chiva called him a rotation player, Alex, to his face.
Is he not?
Oh my God! Yeah, but she didn't say that. I don't
Why
know.
not? What?
I mean, accuracy in reporting, right?
Okay, you know what?
Okay, before we get started, before people trash me in the comments or anything for being mean or whatever, this is how I worded it, Alan.
No.
Why?
Let people decide for themselves.
No.
They can listen. Oh no, don't listen to it. Okay, let's kill the tease completely.
I believe you told me how
okay,
you
perfect.
coached the question, and so I am also going to play into the tease and say I think that people should watch the episode before making up their mind whether
Yeah,
or not to
watch it.
trash
He's
Chiva.
trying to taint my name. Was that the right word to use, boss?
Taint.
Taint?
I don't know.
mean-
I don't think you should be using that word, to be honest. Just in general. The urban legend. What did I miss? What's the Snapdragon controversy?
Rewind.
It's all good. Catch you guys up here at the end. Thank you for joining. Andy Sandberg's Nick Cage impression. That's high praise. That was my Andy Sandberg impression of Nick Cage. Hi, Alan. Welcome to 2 Balls and a Mic, 2 Balls Under Wood. We're going to go ahead and talk about everything San Diego loyal now. Did you have any outstanding takes or thoughts on
Emotions?
Emotions on, everybody dragging people and just being mad in directions and catching strays everywhere?
Let people be people, and you fan the way you want to fan, and yeah, fan yourself the way you want to fan yourself, and if you get paid, you get paid. Yeah, I just want to point out that I pointed out to Nate Miller how great a job that Joe Corona did on this game. So,
because Nate Miller has not been very receptive of you, just you and the post matches. But we'll go ahead and get into that. San Diego loyal facing the eternal, well, not eternal because it's ending.
Well, hold on. Before that, on Wednesday,
Madre.
they played El Paso on
No,
Wednesday.
they didn't. Look, no, they didn't. All right. It was a 0-0 match. It was a boring fest. Mr. USL himself here, Alan Underwood, was like, I was watching a game in the USL the other day. That was really like, wow, why? What's even happening? It was a 0-0 match. What game was it? I'm like, the loyal one? He's like, oh my God, yeah, it was. Like, that's what we need to talk about in that game. A nothing burger of a match, a nothing burger of a trip down to the middle of Texas. And did I miss anything, Alan, for Wednesday's
dropped
matchup?
points.
They brought a point.
Dropped points.
But they brought one.
no, that is an accurate statement that I did make. That I that's how memorable the Locomotive Loyal game was I literally forgot that was the game I was watching. That I was like, it was like I was watching a game. It wasn't that entertaining. It was kind of like low effort, low energy. It felt like I normally feel like on a Wednesday night of just like meh. And then you were like, was it the locomotive match? I was like, actually, you're correct. You are correct. I had that. It was so forgetful that. I mean, it's fine. You go on the road against a Western Conference team that has been struggling. You want to get 3 points there. It's a little bit bummer that you don't. I think you play probably well enough that you probably could sneak 3 points out of that one. But going on the road and getting one at this point is, especially midweek when you're gearing up for a pretty emotional game at home against Oakland. I had a feeling that the guys, I don't want to say weren't giving their 100%, but I think there was an element of this is going to be a long ass week and Saturday is going to be pretty emotionally draining. And so I think maybe some guys save some gas in the tank to be able to fight against a really tough Oakland Roots team at home and wanted to give something at home, particularly how well they played against Monterey Bay on that Sunday. So I'm not mad about it. Yeah, you could have probably, hindsight being 50-50, if you got 3 points, now you're looking at you would be in second place. But you can't really play that way. You got to play the team that's in front of you when they're in front of you, and win at home, draw on the road, you're going to be successful. And I think you're walking away, people are healthy, and you're getting ready for a tough game against Oakland.
I do like that. Like you said, Alan, hindsight is 50-50. But just to kind of check in on the highlights of that game, here you go. All right, and that's all she wrote for that match. It really tickled the pickle for Alan on that one.
So good.
But yeah, so then obviously coming back home, 7 p.m., you have Carlangas, Captain Charlie Adams here, saying, "Come see the loyal. Come on, against Oakland Roots." Oakland Roots, again, we know this team.
Wait, did you say Charlangas?
Yeah, El Carlangas, Charlangas.
That's funny.
Captain, welcoming everybody in. Oakland Roots, a tough team historically for San Diego Loyal for more than one reason.
7 straight games that Loyal couldn't beat Oakland.
Yeah, and in some of those frustrating ways possible. Also, getting booted out of the playoffs last year. I'm pretty sure if you ask any of the players, that was a difficult match for them, not just on the pitch, but just emotionally. Tempers flared. Alejandro Guido kind of, having to look at himself in the mirror and just saying, like, man, like they could have handled that differently, and really showing the emotional maturity of this team evolving into this season and all the situations that they could have put themselves in. And now they seem to be a little bit more disciplined and they seem to be more focused altogether. But the starting 11 here: Coque Vega, Stoneman, Goose, Bodley, Riley, Corona, Colin Martin, Charlie Adams, Adrian Perez, Ronaldo, and Evan Conway. Seeing this, guys, gentlemen, thoughts?
It's a similar lineup to what, like, one of the most consistent lineups that we've seen from Nate. Surprising to see Guido coming off the bench, but I mean, it's understandable the way he's been performing. But at the end of the day, Ronaldo Damos is the big storyline, right? He's just been red hot lately, from coming off a hat trick at home, and then from this one, just the performance that he threw. I don't know what your thoughts were on the lineup.
Through it.
Yeah, I think we're finally getting to a point where in the season where you're just kind of you're rolling the hot hand and you're playing the guys in a lineup to build into the playoffs, right? You're trying to find who your starting 11 is. Yeah, maybe a little bit of surprise that Guido's off the bench, but I mean, it's been in a long week, and maybe he was just a little, wobbly on his legs. And you don't want to overextend guys and get guys injured. Jason's point about Damas playing as much as he's playing is pretty impressive. He's a few inches away from another hat trick in this game as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, a really strong lineup. Defensively, pretty good as well. Like, we're starting to kind of, again, hone in on those players you're probably going to see in a starting 11 when playoffs kick off.
And it's also not, I could also take a role where Alejandro Guido's not a big fan or nice to Oakland, especially after last the playoffs. Like, he got red carded. He has history with some of these players. He comes off the bench and also gets a yellow card. So maybe a smart move by Nate by not starting him. He could have maybe gotten a red card down the line in the second half or something. Better to avoid it. That could have played a role, just saying.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true, right? Like, le traen ganas. Like that's what we say. Like you kind of have it after a certain team or a certain because they've had your number. They've had your number. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing San Diego Loyal at this point before this match could have really said to Oakland Roots or about Oakland Roots because they have proven that they're big brother right now, and they have been. Excuse me. And so, a really good showcase and a really good opportunity to really have that playoff atmosphere because this match was, again, like you're saying, talk about emotions, right? Like this could have been, like what was on the line? It's a playoff match. This could have been the final game played in San Diego for San Diego Loyal, period. Had the results been different, that was it. That's all she wrote. And there was a lot of people who really thought that was the case. And there was some sentiment of that with good reason because Oakland Roots has been so dominant in results-wise against San Diego. And because that's the team that, you just can't get off your back. And they always seem to find a way in the most petulant ways at times where it's like really? That's how they got it? Like, guys, that's just get it together. But kind of what are some of the emotions that you had, Alan? Because I know you yourself kind of have been reflecting. You've been kind of stone facing it for a while too. It's just like I'm here. But before the match, just kind of leading up to it, what was your emotional state?
I think by the time I got to the stadium, I was in a much more like jovial spirit. It felt very, I wouldn't say uplifting. That's not the right word, but I think there was a lot of like really positive vibes. A lot of people running into folks who they hadn't really talked to in a while. It didn't feel melancholy as I would maybe expect it to. It felt very like a party. It felt great. It felt high energy. Lots of people showing up and in a celebratory mood, right? Like I know some people might have questioned why we're celebrating the demise of a club, but there was an era of celebration. I kind of hearken it to like the end of a school year where there's like a little bit of melancholy, that's coming, right? Like you're graduating or you're that kind of feeling of finality where it's like the last day of school where they're like you're done with the tests already and you're just like feeling this like community, this like just appreciating who is around you, and that's kind of the vibe that was there. Just everyone really wanted to be appreciative of each other and the community that was built around the club itself, particularly the players. I think I don't want to get too ahead of it, but like Emra Clementa was hanging out after the game watching the video, right? He was a part of this club. And fuck him for scoring against us again.
Yeah, dude. But couldn't just let one game go by.
Although I contend that I didn't see that goal happen. I didn't realize it was 4-2. I was like, oh, they scored. When did they score? Like, I think there was just this era, like this kind of camaraderie and this kind of like family reunion that I was really caught up in like just joyfulness. Like I was happy for a lot of the game.
Emra Clementa, who I did see at the end of the game, kind of like before he went up the hill. He was talking to someone else saying like, man, like this is where it all started and it's where it's all ending. Like for him too. Like he was a part of this start for San Diego Loyal and scored a couple of good goals at Torero Stadium. So
yeah, I mean, and this team, once again, like we see it here. And once this goal to start the game, 14th minute, I turned to you. I'm like, that's the way it had to be. Like there was no other way for this to go other than Oakland Roots to score first. And usually this takes the life away from any stadium. We've seen this before. We've seen it during the Galaxy game, Los Dos game, where it was a disgrace. But we see it, and the crowd livened up, and they really got behind the squad once again. And instead of doing anything, they cheered louder. Because they knew that, that feeling was already there. And congratulations to everybody in 109 for filling that section up. And like it really was probably the best atmosphere that I've seen in that section since the first matchup, and even then, like that first matchup was a lot, and even the first match coming back from the pandemic, like the machine of 109 wasn't as well oiled. The songs, the transitions, the capos, the everything just came together, and so yeah. What did you think? 1-0. You're like, oh boy, Alan.
Everything particularly against Oakland, like Oakland has a way of not just scoring, but I think like their first year they had 2 goals of the year nominations, like for the year, and they were both against Loyal, and a pretty well worked goal, like nice little header, like it's just impossible. Like you need your defender to stop that. Your goalkeeper's not getting back across. A pretty well worked goal, and then I thought there was a little bit of like, oh no. Like, keep your heads. Like, this is kind of what happened last year, where I think some people might have had it in the back of their head. But I think when the crowd and credit 109, but I think the crowd in general, like both the home side, they responded like, no, we got you. Like, we're gonna lift you up through this. Like, keep fighting. Like, we believe in you. And I think that a little bit of the difference, right? Like, I think Oakland, there was a little bit of that in the playoff match, but there was like anger in it too, right? It was a pretty tough day for San Diego sports teams. And I think that the vibe of that day was much different than the vibe in the stadium this time, where I think a lot of people were just trying to lift each other up and lift the team up. And you can feel it. You can feel it's like, no, guys, like, we got this. We believe in you. And, I think we saw this against Monterey Bay, where getting punched in the face this year doesn't feel as much of a death sentence to the game like it did in years past.
No, yeah, I mean the response was amazing,
and response from San Diego Loyal themselves too. 3 minutes later, boom.
Here we will obviously in the soccer community be right back at it. Seven Conway takes the top of the.
Oh, not that one.
18. But it's been incredible here these last 4 years, going back to those early meetings.
Not that one, absolutely not that one. But essentially the response for San Diego Loyal was keep going. Attack. And you see it here. Incredible play. Blake Bodley's been playing out of his mind.
9 assists now.
Leading the team in all time this season.
And who also tied it up, right? The San Diego native, the guy you brought in this season to kind of like give you that edge on other midfields, the experience. The kid from your hood, Tony, ties it up. It had to be him.
Had to be him. And a good cross, a good connection here. Joe Corona, not the tallest player.
That's something that how do you pronounce his name? Blanchett. He's a really good goalkeeper, and we've seen him time and time. Like that's something that usually he's able to block. So the fact that he did go through was a little surprising as well.
Yeah, especially, I mean, later in the game, he comes up with some pretty big saves. Like this was like a pretty fun game from a goalkeeper standpoint as well. Like goalkeepers making really good quality saves on maybe shots that they shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And a well-placed header that Blanchett just doesn't get enough of, right? He gets some of it, but like pushes it into the side netting instead. I think Blanchett probably has had better games. I mean, we've seen him have better games. But Bodley was really good in this one. A couple of assists, but just kind of a well-placed header, and he just kind of, I don't know, maybe just doesn't get a good jump at it, doesn't get all of the ball on the save, and just it finds its way to the back of the net. And when things are going well, these are the type of goals that you score, right? Like when things aren't going well, he gets enough hand on it and it pokes it wide or pokes it off the crossbar. But when things are clicking and you feel confident, like these are the type of goals that go in. And when we talked about earlier in the season where it's like, man, things just didn't work out, like this is the other side of that coin.
Yeah, and I mean, just kind of talk about like the reason why. Like honestly, this should have been a stop. This should have been a stop, and luckily for San Diego, it wasn't. But I think it's a technique thing here because he goes with both hands and trying to, and that's his style. Like he's a very safe goalkeeper where he usually wants to have the most surface area to be able to parry it out. But in this situation, I would have preferred personally if had he used just the left arm and just focus on using the left arm instead of waiting for his body to go across, and that's essentially a slower reaction because you have to get the cross body hand in there. Instead, you just go with the left and just parry it up anywhere. He goes for this double hand save, and that kind of slips through his hands. Fortunate for Joe Corona and San Diego Loyal on that one. So 1-1, and everything's kind of like, all right, like this feels different. This feels different.
It's like, all right, you were so mad at me because I wasn't expecting it and I didn't get to.
You didn't record the goal.
I missed this goal.
Yeah, and I did.
You had a camera too.
And I did a 12-foot double kick into the air. It was wild. But yeah, so that's the response. Yes.
The volume from the crowd in response that goal was like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, damn, this is gonna be epic. Like it's either gonna be tough, hard, because the first couple of minutes, like 15 minutes, were like pretty hard fought. They were pretty physical, and so I was like, all right, like we're in it now, and the crowd's behind it now, and this is gonna be like everything's gonna be ramped up more, and it's gonna be way more physical, and it's gonna be tough for Loyal, you know, to keep it going, right? Because I thought Oakland would respond. Their traveling fans brought it. Like they were loud that night too. Mm-hmm. And so I thought this was like the making of one of these like long epic nights. But boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it took 2 minutes for.
Yeah. Thank you, Esteban, by the way, to.
Or you've been punching it out. Yeah.
Making my point valid. But 2 minutes later,
2 minutes later, Charlie Adams drops this dime for Blake Bodley. With his back over, like he already knows Bodley's faster. He sends the perfect ball and crosses it. And he would talk to Bodley at the end of the game. He said, I thought about shooting it. He really did, and he knows that Ronaldo's been practicing on those ending runs and finishing it, and that's exactly what they did. And second assist for Bodley here.
Coach Beto getting into it. I love the kit, man.
Everyone loves Coach Beto.
But man, this right here is just the reason why this happened. And that vision by Charlie. Charlie's facing what would it be? East? This pass goes true west. No, he was facing south. He was facing south, and this pass went true west. Almost with a no look over two players right there. The perfect bounce, beating the defender on the shoulder because knowing that he's going to have to turn his body completely. Blake is already making the run, and Charlie knows that, to your point, and just a fantastic, fantastic play after, Alan.
Yeah, and this is also just trusting your teammates to be where they are. I think we saw an errant pass by Colin Martin. I think my response was like he was playing to where he thought the player should be as opposed to where the player was, because I think Perez had cut in. And so he put it out to the outside, like knowing that that's where Perez likes to be. And this is one of those instances of Charlie peeking and knowing where the players are and playing it into the space where he was and he wanted him to be to let him run on. Kind of a poor defensive play from the defender, but this is what a really well-placed ball does, right? It makes a defender make a tough decision, and he chooses wrong. Happens all the time, right? This is why we get mad at some of the Loyal defenders, because they have to make these split-second decisions, and he guesses wrong. And then at this point, like, Damas is 2-on-1 still, like, and Hackshaw is not a bad defender. He's been in the league for a minute. So the fact that Bodley gets on this, maybe not the best touch for him to score. And at this point, Hackshaw's trying to close down the angle, and Renato's like, nah, I got this. And then Blake just is really smart. Like, if I put this in the middle, I know where Damas is going to be. And maybe he doesn't even know it's Damas. He's just like, I know that there's going to be a guy there in the middle. And I'm going to put it to the middle where my guy is going to be and trust that he's going to do the right thing with it. And you know, Ronaldo's come on really well, leads the team in goals now. If Adrian Perez scores one more, we have 3 goal scorers in double digits.
Yeah.
Like Damas was like dormant for a while, and he has now come out of his cocoon into this beautiful butterfly that we were expecting when he came in. Like, this is the Damas we were hoping to see for all season. and it's really cool to see that it's finally paying off, and the goals are finally going in for him.
Who knows? Maybe Damas only plays at the top level when he knows he needs to play it at the most. When
Maybe he was saving it. Like it's so
it.
Interesting the fact that he's really like doing it again. He's really lighting up here at the end of the season, and not just lighting up, just tearing the place apart. Really good team goal. I mean, the fundamentals of Nate Ball dictate that sometimes it's boring, but sometimes it's beautiful like this. And this is really the reward of that training. And then for Blake Bodley, the post-match, to really say, like, no, like, we've been working on this. Like, that's something that's been worked on. And, I mean, if we were even thinking about it, like, the fact that this everybody's in their place where they should be, right? If we're looking at this image right here, you have Conway right down there who's taking that defender to take him into consideration. So, therefore, moving up a little bit, these two defenders from Oakland are kind of, parallel to each other, which you never really want to do. But it's the design of this style that really gives fruits to a magnificent goal here. So it's really good.
Yeah, Hacksaw, like you were saying, Alan, he's caught in a very. Well, why do you laugh?
No, I mean, you know your stuff, bro. What's the guy from Monterey Bay?
Damn, it's not important anymore.
Okay, all right.
Not
all right,
important
sounds
anymore.
good. No, great. Fantastic.
I don't have it on my computer right now. No, he got caught very much like in a, should I follow Damas or should I try to cut in the player? And he chose for the player, and fortunately he's not as fast as Bodley. And that's what's going to happen on a perfect through ball like that. So, yeah. After that play... that's safe.
Yeah, so again, top to bottom, great performance by San Diego Loyal. You have a set piece here.
For Oakland, and Vegas just has to punch it away.
He gets another big save.
Yeah,
after,
no,
too.
but this is one of the big ones where I saw that and I'm like, oh, that's a difficult save. Like, again, sometimes commentators make a big thing out of nothing. Like, oh, what a save! And it's like, oh, he did that for the picture. Like, he didn't have to do that. But not here. Like, this is something that looks simpler than it actually is, but it's difficult because you really can't read the angle and the speed at which the ball is going to come in. The ball bounces right before, so this ball might jump all the way up. It might jump quicker to the shallow end here, and it does that. He puts his body right in front of it and does the double scoop, just boom, just parries it out. Doesn't want to deal with it. No issues. Over to the sides.
And it's not like it was a slow header either. The ball had some speed on it, which is why the ball just kind of like flies almost outside of the box already. But again, a great save, great read from Koke. Amazing shot stopper.
Again, talking great. Lots of superlatives here, but San Diego really played in this way. Because of that, they were able to kind of come on this side.
It's been a lot of fun to watch a lot of players grow and go to the next level, thanks to San Diego.
Riley trying to swing that one in! One more time! Ronaldo again!
So here's my favorite thing about that goal. Rewind to the very start of that play.
Yes, sir. Here?
So I think it's Damas who plays the ball over to that side.
Okay, let's go back here.
I don't know if the high. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Damas is
Damas.
over here on the left, right?
He just played
plays
that
the ball over to the right.
What a pass.
Yeah, switches play to Adrian Perez. Adrian Perez, super smart, cuts it back, sees Cam. Cam cuts it in, and it's Damas who scores. Damas is the one that starts the play and finishes that play. I was watching that back, and I was like, I didn't notice that Damas was the one that switched play. Like, what a heads-up play to, like, find your teammate in space, switching the play, and then making a really good, like, movement into the box to, like, not dart in, but, like, take his time and make sure he's in a really good spot. And then, Perez has been playing really well. I wish there was hockey assists because he deserves just cues it up for him to put a really good cross in, and then a pretty decent, like, strike, and Blanchett has no. So that's Ronaldo Damas starting that attack from the left and finishing it in the middle. And what can we say? Like, he's been playing, he's been playing well. That whole right side, including Joe Corona in the half space.
So happy for Cam.
It's such a difficult cross. It's a first touch cross. I think he wants to get a little more on it, but maybe doesn't get there, and he just perfectly plays for Damus so he can. I mean, Damus is talented enough to wherever the ball is placed, he's gonna be able to get a good touch on it.
Yeah.
But it's in all aspects of it. You look at it and you're like, wow, this is one of the best crosses I've ever seen in the USL.
It's
such
perfectly
like
weighted. It's
chip,
completely
chip
full.
cross. But I don't even think he wanted to get it there. And if he did, props, because that's a difficult cross to make. The finish as well is kind of like just a cherry on the top from Damus. And at this point, everyone's just thinking the same thing. Is Damus really going to get another hat trick here?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But overall, altogether, right? Like, different players getting involved, the whole different side of play. Like Bodley in that first goal, utilizing the left-hand side. Adrian Perez is dangerous here on the right. And creating these matchups, giving it to Cam being very offensive. So
I don't think something Oakland expected Loyal to do a lot was the long balls, because that's the second time that you kind of get the ball over your defender's head, and they have to kind of like switch everything
because that's not
and
Nate ball.
replace. And exactly, it's not really Miller ball, but again, this is kind of like back earlier in the season. I've mentioned I do like when teams kind of change strategy a little bit in certain games or going into playoffs because it catches teams off guards. I think Nate managed to do that in this game where it completely caught Oakland off guard and they didn't know what to do. They started off winning, but give a little bit more time to Loyal and they ended up destroying you. I don't know who's talking now.
I agree.
And then to top it off,
what's that, Shiva?
What?
I said, what was that?
I mean, Adrian Perez nominated for Goal of the Week. This save, I think, yeah, this was the save.
Yeah, this
should be save of the week.
I mean, put some audio on this because
I think someone got a good angle of the save.
Mm-hmm.
I think was it Jason maybe?
No.
Not sure if it was. But it's just
I believe
a great save.
one of you two shouted said golazo as soon as he hit it because it looked like it was going in.
Yeah.
That was him. I know my soccer. I know when it's a goal or not. Or
Okay.
No, but a beautiful save, and absolutely Coca does say no. In fact, in the 33rd minute there, 39th minute to eyes the keratoconus. I can't believe you would make fun of somebody
Absolutely
who has a disability like me.
If it's
wow.
You, yeah.
But just take a look at that. Usually I'll say I can do that. No question. No question I can
You
do
can't anymore. You're retired.
that. This is one of those saves that I can definitely still do. 1 out of 100 times. Like it's
You don't stop
right now Esteban's like, I still have the footage of you sucking ass, so I don't think so.
That's why Esteban didn't drop shit.
Yeah, because you were
I'm convinced you actually reached out to him and told him, "Hey, dude, please don't post."
We
that.
did a video and I got completely annihilated in soccer in goalkeeping terms.
Esteban, if you're not gonna drop it, just send me some of it at least, just so I can see, and if we can use it just for the pot.
Just remember, Esteban, how much I gave you. No, I'm kidding. But no, let's just look at that. Like the form, function, hair, the look. You can tell the speed of the shot because the ball's blurry, but Cook is clear as day. That's as beautiful as a save gets. Like it's form and function all in one. Just beautiful. Cook. I talked to him after. I'm like, esa tajada, ¿verdad? He's like, oh, sí, una tajada, una de las mejores atajadas que he hecho. One of the best saves I've done. So
he's probably winking as he saves this right now too.
Yeah.
That's just like he's like
just posing like, oh, what a handsome.
Winks in Spanish.
Winks in Spaniard.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like a movie, right? It's like slow motion. He's like, ink. He's like, poof.
And then after that,
I think those moments are just as good as goals,
exactly.
Right? For the crowd response, for the energy of the game, like those are just as big as goals. And like it was just you really at that point are like, all right, we're up 3-1. Koke's, saving all these beautiful shots.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is a party. Like we're at a soccer party. Like that's where we are.
And to top to bottom, right? Like it felt different. And this could have been a situation that could have gone whichever other ways. And honestly, 3-1, I think everybody would have been happy. But San Diego Loyal was not. They wanted more. They wanted blood. They wanted more here. And here, this play, obviously starting on the counter, the speed in which Miller ball here, same thing, same concept, but it's almost ramped up. It's almost revved up. And then Adrian Perez here with a laser shot that goes in for the 4-1 golazo.
He's tried this shot so many times in the season where he hits the crossbar, where the goalkeeper saves it.
Yeah.
He has it in the midfield. This is all him. And
Cam's
he's proven
like,
it time and time where if you don't press him and you give him the space, he's gonna take it.
Yeah.
That's literally his indoor skills going in. You're gonna give him space, I'm gonna keep going with the ball. And he just shoots a laser of a rocket that the goalkeeper cannot touch. Alan, you're smiling. I think you were very much appreciative of this goal.
I'm about to take that smile away after you say what you will, because, go for it. Sorry.
I was going to say, my favorite part of this goal is I'm talking to Cesar H. Football.
Cesar H. Football.
Like, legitimately was talking to him about how much I enjoy watching Adrian Perez and the things that he does on the wing. And I was, like, showing him a video of, like, earlier in the season, like, this beautiful footwork right by the corner flag. And I was, like, literally was like, man, his footwork is amazing. The way he uses the sideline, like, almost like an indoor soccer player, where you think you have him trapped and then he gets out of it and you're just like, how did he do that? But just without a wall. Usually they play it off the wall, but there's no wall, right? So I was like, that's the conversation I was having with him. And I was like,
said the word wall, and then that happened.
Yeah, and then I was like, here we go. And I like just picked up my phone in time to get the goal. And it's really cool to see him play that way. The Evan Conway run on this one is super important too, right? We talk about like tactical gravity. It creates even more space for him. Like that defender has to step to track the run, right? You have a trail guy tracking the run, and then the center back tries to pick him up, and Adrian Perez just finds his way into that little, half space pocket. And we've seen him do this before with his left foot. We saw him do it last week with his right and almost pull it off. And so he just has all of the space, and you're just like, nope, this is a goal. And as soon as he shot it, you're like, oh, this is going in. And sure enough, like just angles it the right way. Blanchett tries to get there, tries to do his Koke impersonation. But again, the two-handed save does not work well for him. And just this little team over here of 13, 14, 15 over here on the right-hand side, it is really clicking at a time where you need it to click.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and obviously this one was one that he had lined up. And you mentioned it right there, Alan. This double hand technique that Blanchett is having. Technique-wise, you should have gone with one. Not just that. He doesn't really jump. He just kind of falls to his right. Like,
does that ball get deflected a little bit?
No, that's the thing. I know it's very hard to tell in this angle, but there's no defender or anywhere near. This ball is coming clearly at him.
There's a little bit of a move on the ball.
The ball does move a little bit.
It's just a knuckleball of a shot from Adrian Perez.
But we see it here. Blanchett just kind of is about to take flight.
But no, that's the shot of it. It's a knuckleball.
Yeah. But again,
those are hard to stop.
He kind of fell to the side. And he tried to do this. I don't know what he tried to do, but
I do think the shot completely moved from him from how Adrian Perez shot, and that's what definitely cost the goal. I agree. If he went with one hand, he probably would have been able to like move it faster than once he's already picked this hand up. I'm not the goalkeeper expert here. You're absolutely right. He should have blocked that, but let's not take any credit away from Adrian Perez. It was a beautiful shot for sure.
Exactly.
I wonder if he's like anticipating it being a curler and coming back down toward him, and it was a knuckle that kind of had this like almost like a rising action. Yeah, just well struck, beautiful, like chef's kiss. And for all of the goals I saw, that was the final goal. And we asked him about what it means to him to have the last regular season goal in loyal history. And much like he always does, he talks maybe a little bit about himself, but also gives it up for his teammates and how it's about this team effort, yada yada yada. It's great for the team and the fans, and he's just humble about it too. Like, he's not super cocky. He's just like he's confident, but he's also like humble in his confidence. And I don't say you love to see that from your players, but it just speaks to kind of his personality, that he just leaves it on the field and he lets his game do the talking. And I mean, maybe if you catch him, he'll be sneaky and do you dirty, but comes off as this very like humble guy who just understands that he benefits from being part of this team, and he's taking advantage of the success he has because of the players around him.
Yeah, and team player overall. And a lot of the players that we talk about always make sure to mention everybody else. And early night for Charlie, because, I mean, you're 4-1 up, 61st minute. Charlie comes out, and then we see Nick Moon, the return of Nick Moon.
At
home for a couple minutes here. So there were rumblings of his injury being season ending. He worked incredibly hard to get back to this point. To be able to get 40 minutes of play, is no small feat. So congratulations, Nick Moon.
Yeah, for sure. And Nate said in the press conference, right, where you can tell that he's not
fully match fit. Yeah.
No, he may be match fit, but he's just not up to rhythm with all other players. Mm-hmm. Like some of his touches were off, where you don't see that too often. He didn't really go one-on-one against players. He kind of like let the pass go through instead. So it's like Nate said in the presser, where he's gonna catch up. There's time for him to catch up when it comes to playoffs. So that's exactly where you're gonna want to have him now.
Yeah, and then, I mean, just look at this. Just look behind the goal of Blanchett. Just that mosaic of San Diego soccer culture right behind the goal. The tifo still there. The stands absolutely packed. 109 coming down and being 101, just 100 right there, keeping it 100 with Blanchett. Really special. The second half, Alan. I don't know how much we can talk about, what happened in the actual game, right? Because you were busy, and now we can kind of talk about just the rest of this. Because yes, Oakland did score. There was 4-2.
It was Clementa.
It was Emmer Clementa. But the second half just kind of took a storyline of its own.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of hugging. There's a lot of people like making cameo appearances. AV stop. It was down there cheering again with the supporters. It was very like a thank you to the team and to the club, and I think that's where a lot of people. I mean, they were still invested, and they were still, singing and doing all the things that they normally do. But it was so super nice to like be able to say like thank you one last time in a regular season, and have that camaraderie and see a bunch of people. I didn't see much of the game because you had to look through so many heads to watch it. But I'm still a little sore because I'm out of drumming shape, and I definitely didn't play with the best technique.
See, you're doing that, right? You're doing this. Alan wasn't doing that. Alan was letting it all out, all of it.
I felt like I was like that second half sub where you only have to give 45 minutes. You don't have to do the whole game. Like, you just go a little bit harder for those 45 minutes. Like, I feel like Xavi's a little bit like that, right? They put him on and he just runs and runs and runs and runs, and it's like that's what I kind of felt. And it was nice to drum again. It was nice to kind of end where it began, with those group of people. Again, I know we have another home game. But I think at this point, it was just a nice way to say thank you to the players in the organization for giving us so many great memories. I mean, sure, there's the heartbreak, but I think over the course of the 4 years, like significantly more joys than heartbreak, and that's all you can hope for a sports team in San Diego, I think, or a sports team in general, really. But just seeing familiar faces again, what was super special. There was tons of hugs. There was tons of people walking around and being happy and around each other, and yeah, just a great thing to be a part of, for even just a short, brief period of time. And yeah, I didn't get emotional till after the game. It was just kind of, I'm beating the snot out of a drum for 45 minutes and hoping a goal goes in. Because how cool would it have been to celebrate like that? But
yeah,
I think there was plenty of celebration after the match to make up for it.
It was, again, they did this last year. Yeah, no. So okay, that was fun. You say my child, right?
That's him.
So this was actually, he's actually was the mascot for Charlie Adams. Captain Charlie Adams, first kid to come out the tunnel, out the hill and onto the pitch at the beginning. Bum, 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 bum. Like, this is, and you look at him
and I'm like,
you point to everybody's like,
I tell Ryan, I was like, I didn't know Tony had a kid.
Like, that's Tony's kid. And then you guys said it loud enough for Charlie to hear. Charlie's holding this kid's hand, looks at him, does like a, huh. Oi, like, looks at me, looks at him again. He's like, and then he has to start walking. So, like, the last thought that he had going onto the pitch was like,
Dude, it looks like Tony.
what the fuck? He's like, okay.
Oh, shout out to this kid, man.
That was Alan right there. That's Alan all the way. But no, it was a real just
funny.
Party atmosphere.
Look at him.
Look at him go.
Yeah. He's like,
that was me trying really hard not to hit people. That was the toughest part.
That was the toughest part.
Like,
I saw you. Yeah.
I had to pay more attention to people walking by the drum, especially like they just are oblivious to sticks flying right in front of them. I almost murdered several kids because they were just at the height to get in the head. So I was watching small children run back and forth more than I was watching the game. But it reminded me of the first game, right, where people aren't aware of what the drums are about. But yeah, the San Diego ER at the end of the match was something quite spectacular. I think
and you're talking
there's going to
about
be very, very few sports moments that I'm going to put up on that same level.
And you're talking about just emotions, right? And I don't think we're necessarily saying something that we necessarily shouldn't, but like people who are part of this team in the front office, people who really helped shaped what people ended up enjoying. Former president of San Diego Loyal, Ricardo Campos, was there, and in his original OG Campos 20 Team 1 jersey, and on his birthday, by the way, happy birthday Shannon Mack as well, and just taking it in and really being part of the moment. And it was in that second half where I was like, you know what, I want a vantage point up top, so I kind of climbed with the drummers on their side, and just took it all in. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, that is really when I saw Ricardo just jumping with everybody and everybody embracing each other and jumping around, and I teared up a little bit just because it's what was built here is never going to be replicated. It is never going to happen in the same way. It can't possibly happen in the same way that it did here. And just the amount of people that came together, the amount of different people that have met, the friendships that have been forged, the memories, the heartbreak, as you're saying, Alan, that everybody's gone through. And whether it be somebody working in the office, being a supporter, covering the team, and everything in between that rhymed. it had that culminating factor, and I agree with that metaphor of it being like the last day of school into summer, right? Like, yeah, you might still see some of these friends after the summer, but it's not the same. Like, you know, everybody's kind of moved on and graduated. Anything that comes after, what is it, October 22nd is borrowed time in a sense, because, you know, we know the finality of it. But it's just, again, really, it was a really cool moment to just kind of sit back and be a part of everything unfolding. And everybody who was there, I think, had a similar sentiment where, you know, again, this could have been the last time they saw their team play in front of them in home soil. And I think that the fact that it was such a resounding result early on in the match, it was like, that malaise just kind of went away, and it's just it's party time and friendship time and hug time and jump time, fun time, smile time. It was such a special night. I don't think I've seen a crowd be that amazing in their devotion and love for something all together in unison. And it was just the perfect harmonious time to be there. The players, everybody, not even 109, the entire stadium, the front office coming out after the match and being part of the team, coming on the pitch and seeing and being heralded as, you know, the heroes of some, because they put this team together. And it's really important to highlight every single person who's, you know, poured blood, sweat, and tears. I see Weston, you know, going up and down, and he himself enjoyed the match a little bit, but still having to work is something that, you know, somebody has to do the job. But emotions ran high. I don't know, man. Like, it was a really special day for San Diego soccer, just period.
My favorite thing about that picture is the first 4 or 5 times I looked at it, I didn't notice you were in it. And I was like, who's the half of the best podcast in town? I was like, well, John's the videographer. I was like, and then I think I saw you post it. I was like, did Tony Photoshop himself in? Nope. He's been there the whole time.
Yeah, no, Jason was taking this picture, like, and it's one of the two things, right? Either I'm going to come out just like looking elsewhere, like triple chin, looking the other way, just, you know, very, yeah. Just, you know, very candidly just there. And I always take my opportunity to photobomb. So I was just like, oh, how's it going? So it was again, a very, very emotional day for a lot of people. 4-2, sure, 2. Doesn't matter at this point.
To me, it's 5-1 because Emra was scoring for his loyal history, and so it was really 5-1.
Then we probably should have tied some games in.
I mean, emotions, right?
Yeah,
running high.
It's funny because Coke is here for 2 seasons, but you can tell this is probably his favorite team that he's ever played for. The emotions that he just brings to it, him winning Locals Player of the Year, when arguably you can give it to other players as well, but like, you can tell that he loves it here. And he didn't have to stay another season. We've talked to him, and he had options, and he chose to stay here. He loved the culture. He loved the city. He loved the fans. Makes sense for him to be this emotional. And, I mean, best goalkeeper San Diego's ever had.
I mean, you can,
yeah.
If you just go to any game, you see how much it means to him with how much time he spends with the fans. It's like him and Cam, and M when he was healthy. Although it was really good to see him getting a chance to go out there and celebrate, because he definitely deserves it too. The work that he's put in for this team. It's a shame that he can't be on the pitch, but like guys like that, you can tell how much it means to them by how much they give back. Not that the guys who don't do that don't care about the fans, you know, that's not what I'm saying, but I think it just, he makes a point to make sure that he is giving back to the fans. And, you know, those 2 guys are great examples of, you know, their approaches to the game and to what it means to be a player and represent a club. And Koke is always one of the last players off the pitch because he just gives his time to the fans. And and his hair is phenomenal. So
it stays perfectly throughout. The locals did have a video package, and I really do think that it was a great video package here at the end. Everybody was on the pitch, players, staff, stadium, just didn't leave, didn't move an inch. I'll leave that for the Loyal Locals podcast tomorrow, Tuesday. Check them out. They'll probably go over, discuss it, and just kind of have their take on everything. But I mean, kind of going into that special moment that you're talking about, Alan, right?
Yeah, and that was the moment it really hit me, and I had like tears in my eyes because I was like walking the other side of the pitch, and then I stopped and I like watched the players and the front office and the supporters all watch this video together, and it was just like it hit me in the feels. Like I said, Emmer Clementa hung out and watched the video too. Like I know I talk about him a lot, but I think it's like a lot of people don't remember that he was there the night they walked off and was like vocally supportive of Colin Martin.
Yeah, the first ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had just got to the team. It wasn't like he was there for a long time. And so I just have a ton of respect for him. And, him and Tarek both played loyal, and it was nice to see them both. I think they were a little bit surprised by how gracious people were before the game to them and thank them for, it was good to see them and welcome back. Maybe taking it back because it wasn't as hostile. But yeah, that moment was quite a moving one. I think, it kind of spoke to what a lot of people were feeling. And at the end, like the fact that we still have more games to watch. There's a huge contingent going out to Vegas to watch the very last regular season game. And we get at least one more home game. And depending on how it goes on Saturday, like it could be multiple, but that's not we don't control that destiny. Yeah. You just got to go out there, beat Vegas in Vegas, which is, not always a easy place to play. They came into Torero and got a point out of it. And so I think there's, some unfinished business to go out there and take care of. You're going to be well rested. You want to make a statement before you go into the playoffs and position yourself in the best position. And I know some people are talking about matchups, but the West is so stacked right now that it's like, it's pick your poison, right? You get Switchbacks, you get Phoenix, you might get Locomotive. And there's no easy outs there, right? Even Locomotive's a tougher team. Depending on how the weekend goes, Oakland might sneak back into the bottom of the West. And so it's pick your poison. You're going to have to beat a really good team, most likely on the road because Sacramento clinched home field. So like you're going to have to beat a good team on the road at some point. So, secure what you can, get the win, feel good going into the playoffs, and know that your team can score goals, and you have that in your tank. And now you have, I was looking at the bench now, like you have Nick Moon, Toomey, and Guido coming off the bench. You have the hometown hero from the Monterey Bay and Xavi coming off the bench. Like you're setting yourself up in a really good position to have really good depth, and be able to play a full 90 where it's in years past, your bench was depleted and you're not really making strong substitutions in the 60th, 70th minute. And so I think this team is set up pretty well to give it a go.
I think what's also cool about this last week of the USL Championship is that Las Vegas and San Diego are scheduled at 7:30. Before that, it's 7. So at least for a good 30 minutes, San Diego Loyal will be the last team playing in the regular season, and everyone's going to be able to watch them play their last 30 minutes of regular season time. So that's also pretty cool.
And, everything was emotionally charged, and I think this game was kind of that catharsis of everything culmination, and now everything that comes after is going to be a great fun time, and it'll be celebration regardless of how it does inevitably end, whether it be positive, negative, however it is. It's ultimately going to be a positive for what it means. We did see that Alejandro Guido posted something here a couple minutes before we went live. We will definitely get into it. and get into it with him, because we will be having Alejandro Guido as a guest, part of the Team One talks. He was part of Team One a little bit later, but still part of Team One. Alejandro Guido coming onto the show, and we still have Morgan Hackworth here to finish up. But Alan, I mean, what a ride, bro! What a last couple of home games, matchups. This team is meant so much to a lot of people, and I mean, with the results and most importantly on the field, it's been working out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, I would like to say we're playing with house money. Like, you have nothing to lose, right? Like, there's no tomorrow. Like, just leave it all on there on a pitch. Have a great time. Show up, cheer, enjoy each other's company for as long as this ride is. And, you know, if it's one game, so be it. If it's, you know, multiple games, like, take each one and enjoy it. Enjoy the journey, right? Yeah, we'll get it halfway through the second half. We'll know where Loyal will end up, and we can start playing the matchup game, and, you know, start making your plans for Sunday at 7, which is wild that they're getting a Sunday night game. That should be fun. This is not during the day. You know, weather should be starting to cool off maybe a little crisp in the air. Maybe reminds you of some of those first matches, looking at those videos from February and March where people are beanies and sweatshirts and stuff. And, you know, I think having a little bit of chill in the air will be nice to kind of remind us of, again, where we started on this journey. And, you know, I invite people to read that Guido post, and I think it speaks to a lot of what people are feeling. And it's a good perspective. So.
Absolutely. And again, good luck to everybody going to that Vegas trip. It's going to be fun. I would have totally been there, but I have, again, to plan this or go through the execution of this bachelor party. So that's not going to happen for me in Vegas. But everybody's going. Please be safe. Please have a good time. BYO water balloons. Vegas loves to have those water balloon parties. Deep cut for those who've been following the league for a while. But what a wild time. Anything else, Shiva? Anything else, Alan? Before I throw it to Morgan Hackworth and end the episode.
It's going to be very emotional also on the 22nd. So getting ready for that. And we'll see. Loyals have a chance at finishing in second. So that would also just be a great way to end the season as well.
Absolutely. Alan? That's todo?
Yeah, I'll see everyone in Vegas.
All right. You're going?
Right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Enjoy
goodness.
your trip. Safe travels, Alan.
Bring us some fun. All right. Thank you, Alan. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
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 It's a signature. Bye.
There goes Alan. There goes my hero. Watching Messi go.
So we had Morgan Hackworth on.
Yeah, so we did have Morgan Hackworth. We'll go ahead and cut to that interview here in a bit. Actually, before the show, we also interviewed Tumi Moshaban. So that interview will be dropping soon as well. Alejandro Guido on Wednesday, and that's almost it. Like, it's almost it. We're going to keep doing our coverage of San Diego Loyal and everything soccer in San Diego. Check everything out here at San Diego.Futbol. Thank you for everybody who's been here in the comments, who, again, had those fantastic words to us and really where it was encouraging. Seasons, greetings, all kinds of seasons, Eric.
I hope you guys enjoy this interview. I mean, I've been very vocal about Morgan Hackworth for the last couple of years. After Spencer left, I had needed someone to scapegoat a little bit, I guess. So definitely a fun one for me. Hope you guys enjoy it. Definitely didn't go too hard on him.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We did great. I'll stick around. Shiva's going home. But yeah, enjoy Morgan Hackworth.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome on in to Two Balls and a Mic. The Two Balls and a Mic studio brought to you part by San Diego.Futbol. Yep, that is the actual website, San Diego.Futbol. Check it out. We're going to go ahead and keep this conversation going. Team Talks, Team 1 Talks with San Diego Loyal players. We have the privilege of having a number 2 for your San Diego Loyal. He's been here since the beginning.
Yeah.
People love him. Absolutely love him. And we're going to go ahead and find out a little bit more of what his experience has been here in San Diego Loyal. Please welcome Mr. Morgan Hackworth. Morgan, how are you doing?
Doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
No, absolutely. Again, this has kind of been a journey with some of these Team 1 players, some of your teammates that have been here since that, that kit reveal party. I mean, in between, there's been so many players coming and going, but you've been one of those mainstays since that day one. I mean, kind of just take us all the way back then, if you can remember, like, what was your first sighting or just on the radar that San Diego might be having a team and you are kind of on their radar, or you also wanted to join this team here in Southern California?
Yeah. I actually will never forget it. When I was playing for Memphis 901, my rookie season, was having a good year, played every game, was starting, was doing really well on that team. And I remember it was towards the beginning of the year, and I had this buddy on the team that is a big surfer like myself. And we saw the tweet together. We were like, oh my gosh, look, San Diego is announcing a USL team. And we both were like, wow, that'd be so cool to go play for that team, huh? And so it was kind of funny. Like, just that's how my first memory was of hearing San Diego was getting a USL team. And then next thing I know, through my agent, I got a call, hey, what do you think about this new team in San Diego that's starting up? Do you have any interest? And this was about halfway through that first year that I was on Memphis. And I just told them, I was like, yeah, like that sounds like an awesome setup. Landon had reached out, and I had never met Landon before, but he had been, an idol of mine as I was growing up as a young footballer. And from there on, it just came to be. It all worked out where I was able to commit to play for San Diego Loyal early on. And then, yeah, I remember just getting out here. I'd never been to San Diego before. And I got here and just immediately fell in love with this city. And from there, yeah, it just came 4 years of an amazing time in this awesome place.
So you legit manifested this.
Yeah, no.
Really, you threw it out in the universe and you said, man, it'd be cool to play there. Get the call, hey, do you want to play in this team? You said, yes. So you mentioned surfing, right, and all that. I mean, you had a really close friend in the team, not in the team anymore, in Ben Spencer. I know Tony's going to pull up this video. What has it been like for you to just know that you're one of the players that has stuck with the team and seen players come and go throughout the 4 years?
What technique? Look at this.
Look at that handshake.
That's a good handshake we had. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's, it's part of soccer. That people come and go, which is the sad part about the sport. It's also the amazing part. You meet so many amazing people. You meet so many good guys that you play with. And, we've kept a lot of guys. You look at USL teams and what they turn over each year, and we actually have stuck to that, where we've kept a lot of main guys that have been here since year one. And that's really special. So to have this like main core of guys, and then everyone that we've brought in, that is here right now with us are good guys. And, you just get to meet so many good guys on the team, and it's always fun getting to know each other.
And you came to San Diego. Did you get here at 22 or 23 years of age?
I was 22, I guess.
Literally.
No, 23. Yeah, 23.
Even 22, 23. That's literally when I kind of started the podcast with you as well. And he would call me a kid. You're like, yeah, you're a kid. And then now, 4 years later, he's like, hey, you're not that age anymore. You got to start growing up. So is that how you felt too? You kind of came to San Diego and you're like, oh man, like this is so cool. And now you feel a lot older, wiser now that we're here now?
Dude, it's actually crazy you say that, because I've been thinking it recently. I was on my rookie year was in Memphis, and my next year was on San Diego Loyal. Now here we are 4 years later. And I was thinking also, this might be the longest team I've ever been on in my life. You know, I moved so much as a kid. I played for the Philadelphia Union Academy for about 3 years. I went to Syracuse, played for 2 seasons for them, then for Akron for two seasons. So San Diego Loyal, you know, might be my longest club that I've ever been on, and that's really special. And I feel the same as you, man. Like I've grown up. You know, I'm turning 27 in January, so I am starting to turn into one of those older players, and it's just flashed before my eyes here.
We're getting old, Morgan. We're getting old.
I know.
It's all good. It's all good. It's part of it, right? And I mean, what better place to kind of see those years of your life than a San Diego? Even though in the beginning it was tough, right? Everybody's locked up, and I mean, maybe you adapted a little better or differently than some of your other teammates. I remember talking during the high pandemic, with Eric Avila, and him saying like, yeah, no, like my life is just kind of different where I'm just watching Grey's Anatomy now and just watching the show. And I'm like, oh, I'm watching it too. And I caught up now. But what was that like at that age, kind of facing those adversities in your career?
Yeah, that was a really tough year, especially to move here and like kind of get into the city and like, you know, just figure it out a little bit. And then for it to shut down and become a ghost town was really weird, right? It was so weird. And it was also kind of interesting because I was still doing stuff like outdoors, like surfing or, you know, going for runs in Chula Vista, hiking or whatever. I actually got to see a fair bit of like what the city has to offer nature wise, you know, and kind of get out there, which was cool. But yeah, it was also a really hard time when we weren't playing. I remember, yeah, that was tough. Like Avi, I think I rewatched The Office like 3 times during that time.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, you know, then when we came back, it was so weird. We were training on at a horse ranch. We were training on like the tiniest turf field you've ever seen in Chula Vista. That was like barely. It was like an indoor soccer field size.
Yeah.
And man, we just like grinded through that time. And that for me was actually like a really special time, I think, in my career and like being here, because I took that time to my advantage, man. Like I ran every day. I got like really fit. I just showed that like I really wanted to play even in what is crazy season that we had that year. And yeah, you know, it turned in my favor that I was able to play a good amount that year and just, you know, show them that I could do that. So in a lot of ways, it really was helpful and a good time for me. But in a lot of ways too, like with COVID and the whole city being shut down, it was tough.
Yeah, so you come in and you say you're a big part of the surfing scene. I mean, is there a favorite beach that you have in San Diego that you love just going to go surf at?
Del Mar, 11th Street, that's my spot.
Heard it here first. Want to run into Morgan? Maybe you'll
Del
find
Mar,
him there.
11th Street.
But you also went down south and you had yourself an adventure with Ben Spencer back in the
Look
day.
at that hair.
Look at that guy. Who's that guy? But I mean, this is part of the project too of like, you know, getting to know the players and giving you guys an opportunity to showcase yourselves. And what was this like? And I mean, you said you had never been to San Diego. Have you ever been to any of these other places?
No, that was my first time doing a drive up the coast. Ben's a funny guy because me and him talked, and he's like, we were like, how sick would it be to do a surf trip? And he's like, yeah, I talked to the team. I want to film the whole thing and make a video. And I was like, what? Sweet. That sounds cool. And next thing I know, we're doing like, his friend is like, yo, let me get the shot of you guys walking off the beach again and stuff. And I was like, you know, this is cool. Added bonus. I get to go look back at a video like this. And that was such a fun trip. But yeah, getting to see what California has to offer, and surfing is awesome, man, because it can take you, you know, to all these cool places like we did on this little trip.
And you still keep in touch with Ben?
Yeah, he's my neighbor.
That's sick. That is sick.
Yeah.
It'd be awkward if we did it.
He lives literally like next to this wall. He could probably hear us talking right now. It's nuts.
So we got a building with Colin. We got a building with Morgan, Ben Spencer. Any other cool, fun little neighbors around there?
We've got right, literally, I can like see the roof of their house from my window right now. We got Evan, Cam Riley, and Elijah Martin all right there on the same block.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sick.
Hell yeah. Okay, next time we're coming to you guys and we're just doing all
doing
this
everyone
together. All right?
together.
Like it's
Why not?
I won't have to go through anybody in a couple of days here, and it'll be fine. We'll just get together. But you blood your blood. You, yes, soccer runs through your blood, obviously, with just your lineage and history of your family members as well. So, what was the discussion, and what's the discussion like when it comes to terms of this San Diego Loyal season is going to be the last season, and what that means for you professionally, and just in the process of processing this, what's that headspace been like for you?
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hitting like recently. Like we just got in, and our neighbor across the street is a season ticket holder. The whole family, they're like massive Loyal fans, and she's like, "I'll be there on Saturday." So sad. I can't believe this is the last regular season home game, and like it is really sad. It's really hard to come to terms with and still like be present every day, but like knowing that now it's finite, which is sad. Personally, I think all of us are going through the same thing where we're trying to stay really present to focus on this goal that we have as a team and a group, to do something special with the end here, while also, trying to figure out what's next. And so like for me personally, I'm just in the same position. I'm trying to grind each day, just hearing like from other teams if there's interest and if there isn't, and then sorting through, the interest and what's there, just having to have these talks, figure it out, and get closer to trying to figure out what's the next step.
And I mean, in this last 4 years with Loyal, right, you've fought to try to get a starting position, and they brought in other players that just the competition has been high, and you've kind of been a rotational player in the team. But what has kept, a lot of times players in that situation try to find a different team that would give them a starting spot. What about Loyal has kept you in this team for this long?
Well, I've gotten better, man. Yep. If it was any different, I think I probably would be somewhere else. But we've got a really good team, and I've always known being here that I was going to have to compete and fight. At the same time, I've not let that the lack of playing time at times affect my confidence. And so what we have here at this team is one of the best setups in the USL. We have some of the best training sessions in the USL. Mm-hmm. We have guys that are really good soccer players. And when you're in that environment every day, you get better. So for these past 4 years, I've just been grinding, getting better, even with that lack of playing time that you want as a professional footballer, but still looking at it and saying, like I've grown a lot. And so now at this time, I have that opportunity in my career to try and be a starter somewhere, to push, to, be a guy on a team. And that's a lot of credit to kind of just trying to take every day to get better,
It's an everyday grind. And again, like there's a reason why you are a professional soccer player, is that drive to keep moving forward and pushing and just contributing to the team, because there's not just one way to contribute to a team atmosphere, right? Like your presence as well makes others better and makes you better in that sense. So what has been your favorite part about being a part? You said some of the best USL trainings that are out there, about playing with Nate and what that meant. And we've called it Nate Ball at this point, and just the development of him as a manager and a coach. Because we all kind of knew it was always him, even with Landon. But it's all good. We won't talk about that. But what has that been like developing under Nate Miller?
Yeah, I think, like, to answer the first part of your question, it is that reward at the end of the day that the team is really successful. Like we have a really good team, and it shows when we go out there and play. It shows where we're at in the standings, even pushing for, more and a better position. And so that's always rewarding. And then, like you said, every day in training, being in that system, being in the Nate Ball, it's the standard. You know, we don't really let it drop to a certain point. And so being a guy that is there obviously to push players and make them better and have really good training sessions, it's part of my job to like make sure that that standard is there every day. If I have to bring you know, the vibes or whatever, you know, or the energy, then that's something that I have to do in training every day. And it's not rewarding, you know, it's not like you're getting pats on the back like the team played well because you're training well or something like that. But when your teammates are around you for 4 years and when you've been a professional soccer player for this long, you do notice guys like really care about that. And, you know, that's rewarding in and of itself.
So we've been asking, we've had Stoney, we've had Colin, we've had Charlie on, just kind of what their preferred favorite pairings or just people that they enjoyed sharing the field with, either in training or in games that you really just kind of felt like, hey, like this is really cool. It fits my style, or I really just enjoy playing with them on the pitch.
Loves playing with Rubio.
Yeah.
Seriously, like watching that guy go attack and score half tricks, like when he just felt like it. He was one of the, you know, most like high professional player too, you know, like brought it every single day. And yeah, he was really exciting to play with. But no, in all seriousness, I think like playing with Charlie Adams too, he's a guy that helps everyone around him with his like communication, with his body language, how he plays the game. He's a guy that brings everyone up with him. And so, you know, Charlie's always been someone too that you play with in any game, any scenario, and you're like, you know, this guy makes me better. This guy's enjoyable to share the field with.
So I mean, your roommates.
There's been a lot too, man. There's like so many good players, and it's hard to pick just one.
No, I mean, you were roommates with Colin. You live so close to other players, but what's a friendship that maybe you made in the team that not fans or a lot of people would think that you're friends with?
That's a good one. You know, I'd say maybe that they don't know about, you know, like Evan and Colin are two of my best friends on the team. Me and Nick Moon share a lot of, we have a cool friendship that is funny that I don't think anyone would know about. But like today we're just in the gym together, you know, and we've both just kind of been grinding. And he's a guy that's like so good in the locker room too that not many people would know about. So yeah, he's probably a sleeper there.
Yeah, I think of like sleeper, like kind of partnerships, friendships. Like I go back to the unlikely pairing of Xavi and Miguel Ibarra, who absolutely destroyed.
That's one of my favorites, man. Oh. That one was so funny because Ibarra just comes in and he's like this little dude, and he's walking in with Xavi and all the kids, and all they're talking about is Fortnite, and you're just like, Ibarra, bro, how old are you, man? But it's so funny.
Yeah, like again, like just looking back,
great.
it's those relationships that you get to see here at training that you don't really. They actually did pretty well at like a soccer tennis tournament. So that's kind of like those partnerships that you don't really kind of get to see behind the scenes. But just kind of again, you're part of this foundation, Team One. Kind of looking back now, what would you tell this guy right here, as he's being announced, just to kind of brace himself? Morgan now to Morgan then. What words would you have for yourself?
Yeah, wow. I mean, I would just say enjoy the journey, trust the process, you know, keep your head up even when it goes down. Yeah, man, geez, looking back at that, that's like the first image I ever saw for the Loyal, right? And that's just like, it's crazy, man. Looking back at that now. But yeah, I would just say trust the process and enjoy every moment because it's not going to last forever. I used to like joke and tell guys like, oh, I'm just going to play at the Loyal for my whole career. So, you know, but yeah, enjoy the process, enjoy it, stick with it.
And you've had good moments. I mean, just recently, there's been a lot of talks, right?
I don't care what Evan says. He was involved in it, yeah, but his header was saved.
Yeah.
If anything, we're gonna give the assist to the goalkeeper Herrera who bounced it. But
the cross,
for my money,
I think you know what we're talking about.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just
A huge comeback. The perfect cross.
Evan.
Yeah,
All right, come on, Evan. But that was just probably to me, and be very transparent, Morgan. Probably the best contribution that you've had, just on a playing style, just everything like that was just perfect at the perfect moment. You get to see this. Like, take me through all of this if you can, and just what that moment was for you. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Herrera.
First of all, I'm like, yeah, I'm so mad at Evan. Like, come on, that's our one chance to like maybe link up, and then I get the assist, and he gets the goal, and it's like, yeah, that's it. No, yeah, that's something that I've worked on since day one on this team is like becoming a better crosser, and maybe I haven't been able to show that much out there in games, but I know all my teammates and coaches know that. Like, that's my game right there is putting a good ball in and putting it into a dangerous area. And yeah, like that's just the art of it, is just getting it over that first defender and just putting it in a dangerous area, and that game was just awesome. It was so awesome to see Xavi, who he got his moment too there in that game to tell everyone and show everyone how hard he's been working for the past 3 years on this team. So it was just such a cool moment. Like, we win the game, and it was so special for Xavi. Like, everyone was so excited for him. It was just like, it was awesome.
Not only that, but this was a game where crosses weren't going too well. Hugh Roberts was just the nickname. Hugh Roberts was literally just headering everything out in that game.
Yeah.
And that cross was just perfectly placed over his head. I mean,
kudos, man.
Yeah. Did Nate talk to you after the game about that cross
or
at all?
is he too busy praising Xavi the whole time?
Yeah.
All right, we get it, dude. Like,
you're like, hey, Nate, did you see that cross? That was on me.
Yeah, no, I got the praise too, which was nice from him to give me some love. Like you said, actually, that's a really good point. But in those games when you're coming on as a sub, you kind of get to see some things that maybe the players on the field don't. And one thing that I really look at in those end games is like, is my ability, my strength, which is crossing, gonna really help right now? And right before that clip, actually, a couple minutes before in that play, I had a cross that went too far. And I really liked that cross, actually. I was like, that felt good. I got the right wrap on it. It just was like, to me, the timing was just off, right? And I, in that moment, was like, the next one I get, I'm just going to put it right there in the middle of the goal. So then I have that, opportunity, and luckily it comes off. And it was same thing in San Antonio. As I was watching in that game, we weren't crossing a lot in that one either, but we ended up scoring on two basically short corners, right? Or short set pieces, whatever. And it was just the same mentality: put the ball in a dangerous area, get it over the first guy, and it works out sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, sometimes you just gotta keep at it, and that's a good point, right? Like, having that outsider perspective of what's going on in field is what really makes a game changer in that sense. And I mean, what a time to be able to do that. And the frenzy it sent the entire team. I've never seen. Again, I keep throwing Nate under the bus. I've never seen such emotion from him. But
I mean, it's true.
But what is this locker room like right now? Obviously, that was a giant boost. At times, it's a giant season. It's a long season, a lot of travel, and the morale has to be on an up and down kind of scale. But now we're up against it. Mentioned it last regular season home game. Potential to play at home or away, still in playoffs. But what's the locker room environment for yourself as well as the rest of the team?
I think everyone's really locked in right now. Like, we know what we need to do, and it's a really, really important game, like, mentally for us on Saturday. Oakland Roots historically have come to us and done really well. Like, just the mental, barrier we have to cross by beating this team is really big for us. And so the vibe in the locker room, sort of the energy is like, we just all want to win. You know, we want to beat this team on Saturday. We want to go to Vegas and win. We want to get that home playoff spot. But it really starts with Saturday because we need to have that momentum at home. Like, we've been building this place to become a fortress, you know, and it showed definitely in Monterey. Like, that was such an exciting game. And that's how we kind of need it to be for us, is when a team comes and, you know, they get a goal and they're feeling good. It's like, no, we're going to keep going till the final whistle. And yeah, so right now everyone's just locked in, trying to recover. It's been a long year of traveling, and this was kind of the last like real, you know, travel that we're gonna do besides the one to Vegas. But now it's just focus. You know, it's just everyone's locked in. Everyone wants to win. So I'd say the mentality right now is really good in the locker room.
And I mean, last regular season home game coming up, emotions is gonna flare. I mean, what are you expecting out of that game?
Yeah, emotions for sure. It's going to be physical. Like, we know it's always a fist fight with this team. I think we have to channel those emotions. We have to focus on the 90 minutes. We have to focus on the game at hand that we're going to be playing in, and you know, we're going to have to really lock in, because there are going to be a lot of those emotions, especially at the final whistle. And so, yeah, you know, the mentality just has to be strong. I'm sure we're going to talk about it tomorrow, and we're going to talk about it before the game, that, you know, all that matters in between that time is those 90 minutes on the field, and really putting it in with each other.
And again, this fan base has been kind of with, not kind of has been with you, even when they weren't able to be there. What's it been like just being able to play with such just passionate crowds and individuals? And what are your interactions with like out and about in town, and just walking up that hill at the end of the games? It's actually torture. That should be labor laws that prohibit that hill. But
yeah, man,
what's that like just with the fan base up until this point?
Dude, it's been awesome. It's been amazing. I'm sure every player has told you how good this fan base is, but like how passionate they are too. I've had nothing but just like so much love both ways with the locals and Chavos and Rainbow Loyal, every single person in the fans too. You know, like after so many games, you walk by almost every single fan, you know, like seriously, they line up. You're walking up there, get to give everyone a high five. So like the personal relationships that I've had, you know, are so special. Like I said, our neighbor across the street, season ticket holder, been to every game. Like it is really special. And I feel for, it's sad that that's coming to an end, but it's also really special to think about. Not a lot of other clubs sort of get this interaction, fan to player, sort of like true, you know, like love. And that's been really special, and I'm going to miss that for sure.
And as we kind of start wrapping this up, a question that we've been having for all the players coming on is, it's just if you can sum up in 3 words your experience, your San Diego Loyal experience, encapsulate them into 3 words, or Colin took it into phrases, but it's fine. That's Colin. Randolph was very artistic.
Was he trying to be like a poet or something? Was he going all like crazy on you guys?
He gave phrases. He gave phrases, and that's very okay. And you know, we found out that he loves art and art history, and I also love art and art history. So that might be a venture, a podcast that we have later. We start on just 2 balls in art, but anything really, just to kind of sum up your experience here in San Diego Loyal.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is gonna be kind of cheesy, I feel like, but it's a phrase, so I'm actually gonna copy my roommate a little bit. But it's like, what is the exact phrase? Home is where the heart is. Yeah. Or your heart is where the right.
Mm-hmm. Home is where the heart is. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's been it for me, man. Because like I said, I don't know if I've ever been on a team this long before. I've moved my whole life, and being in San Diego for 4 years is longevity for me. And so it really has become like a special place that is going to be a home for me wherever I go. I'm going to look back and think of San Diego as a home. And with that being said, that comes everything that's been the San Diego loyal. You know, like Torero is home. Chula Vista Olympic Training Center is home for me.
Yep.
Palm Avenue, North Park, you know, all these places that I've kind of risen up from has been really special and home to me. And yeah, it's just been like an amazing time.
Well, it's been really special being able to see you again, like we've been mentioning, just grow into yourself, Morgan, and just the opportunity that not just us, but just the players in general. It's very special what was created here in San Diego for these last 4 years, and I'm glad to have you having been a part of this. And again, just as a San Diegan myself, and we just want to thank you for being able to represent the city in such a fantastic way. So I know people wherever you're going to go are going to follow. So thank you, and just truly all the best, because it's not the ideal, but hopefully there's still life and there's still light at the end of that tunnel, because I'm going to tell you, if there was a championship for this team, San Diego just got out.
Oh, man. And I'm holding my word. I've said, if you score a goal, I am buying a jersey with your name on the back. I'm just saying.
Hey, if I score, I'll rip it off myself and just throw it to you.
There you go. Hey, you heard it here first. I did say in the last home game, if Hackworth scores in this game, I will literally buy his jersey. And you hit the post. You skimmed the post.
I know. He made a good play. I should have scored that. Landon was like, cut it back next time, and then dink the nah. But I was like,
okay, Landon Donovan. Yeah, all right. Oh, exactly. Okay. Here's the guys trying to draw an owl. Draw a circle. Step 2, draw the rest of the fucking owl. Like, no, that's not how it works, Landon. Sorry.
No, but thank you to you guys, and 4 years. Obviously, you guys have been building something really special and bringing soccer up with you guys and what you guys do. So I'm excited for you guys too, getting MLS, and I know you guys are gonna already hearing you guys are stirring it up. Keep doing, bring the truth, and all the soccer fans, I'm sure, just really, really appreciate you guys. So keep doing it.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Really
thank
kind
you.
Words. Morgan Hackworth, please check him out here. I don't think I need to push for tickets, because
score that goal, and then you give me that jersey, man.
Hey, media can't.
I'll take it. I'll take it after the game.
But thank you, Morgan. Go ahead and stick around. We're gonna go ahead and just do a little wrap up, and we're gonna go ahead and be done here in 3, 2, 1. Season's greetings. We're back. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching. Chiva's gone home. He doesn't live here. I do, so I can stay here as long as I want. Thank you, everybody who joined. Sandiego.futbol is the name of the game. That's the website. Check everything out. Sandiego.futbol. October 20th, SDFC reveal. Las Vegas Lights, San Diego Loyal. Wave versus Racing Louisville here this weekend. Lots of soccer in San Diego to go. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. Bye. 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 Thank you for a great interview with Hackworth. Jeffrey, season's greetings. All kinds of seasons. Seasoned greetings this time around. Just gonna let it play out. Cool song. Thank you for joining. Thank you. All right. Have a good one. Bye, Chris. Bye, Esteban. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Have a good one. Bye. Bye. Forever. Not forever.